Okay, so I was going along trying to fill up my 12 keys for my 12 effective capos positions for my chords here, and I got up to D sharp, and this is where I'm not sure if other DAWs are different. I'd have to investigate, but at this point, cool, D sharp, we've been going along, so we're going to take this chord, we're going to Command A, move it up a semitone, look at the root note, D sharp, that's fine. So we're going to rename that D sharp major. Cool. We do the next one. Let's go into this chord. Let's move it up a semitone. What do we get? F here. So this kind of came up before in the C sharp thing, but I kind of ignored it. You might have to have a little bit of a discussion about enharmonic names and the idea that, or maybe you just leave this out and you come back to this later on. Again, you just give people a few truths. So if you're trying to tackle this as D sharp, because then technically this chord here should be E sharp minor. But if we look at the root note, it says F. And you could go, cool, what if we just call this E flat then and talk about doing things in flats like this, which would make this chord E flat major, and then this chord here would be F minor. So that kind of solves this problem because there's our F, but this is still called D sharp. So you'd have to have a little bit of a discussion or just decide for now whether or not, like, how you get that naming process sorted out, because the other instrumentalists like keyboard and piano, no one's really going to be playing a D sharp major. Most people would think about it in E flat. So having a discussion about keys, names, and how they apply. Well, this is a good discussion, actually. This is why it's kind of an awkward thing, because you end up with, even though it says F on this piano roll, where were we here? Yeah, you got to talk about, again, this is a discussion about having like scale tones or scale degrees, and having names in your scales that are alphabetical and non-repeating. So for instance, because this is D sharp, the next note can't be F because we need an E in there. So that must be, rather than calling this F, we'd have to call this E sharp. And then the next note, rather than calling this G, we need an F. So that would actually be an F double sharp. So again, probably coming up with some clever way to, when you're making these chords, to get people to write them in as in the flat key that is more useful to their instrumental list and songwriting, like songwriters, partners who are using like traditional instruments. So you'd have to find a way or a system to get to this point. Explain that there are other names for other keys, but what enharmonic naming systems are, but just you'd have to end up with like E flat major is much more useful. F minor, G minor. I have renamed them, but haven't moved everything up by a semitone yet. So now I've got E flat major, F minor, G minor. Just again, this is just so we can finish off our capoing idea, so we can change keys. 1, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 1. What, you wanted in C sharp major? No problem. C major. Whoop, don't turn two on at the same time. And then in G. Can you do this by solo? There we go, we could just solo the key we want. Fantastic.